Hello again, chaps and chapettes. How are we all doing? It is lovely to see you all again. As always, very, very quick football rant, my dear friends. I know a lot of you hate football, despise football, but as I've said before on past videos, I've got as many friends as I have head hair, so you get the brunt of my rants. I'm a Liverpool fan, right? And we have a manager in charge of our club called Arne Slot. And he has won the Premier League last season with someone else's team, Jurgen Klopp's team. And yes, he deserves a little bit of grace for winning us another title and putting us on par with Manchester United. But we have gone 12 games with 10 losses. Now bear in mind, this Arne Slot chap has spent close to £500 million on 5 new players: Ekatike, Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak, Kirkes, Frimpong. And we are just absolutely going down the shitter. We've just been beaten by PSV at home 4-1. £500 million, my dear friends, on new players. Should have given me that fucking money. I would have invested it much better, and I could run the club better than this man. Rant over. I just need to get that off my chest because I've got nobody else to talk to because I am pathetic and lonely. Anyway, my dear friends, in this world, I have a 3-tier list of the things that piss me off the most when I bring you guys videos, subjects that I don't like to cover. Number 1, top of the tier list, is of course anything to do with children, whether it be physical abuse or any other kind of abuse. If there's a kiddie involved, it makes my piss boil, understandably, as a huge population of the planet probably feels the same as I do. In at a close number 2 is animal cruelty. Even if it's a bird, I cannot stand to see someone being cruel to any other living creature that isn't human. It's just beyond my comprehension how someone could be so fucking sadistic and cruel to small animals. And number 3 is, of course, immigration, as we all know, because that's what this channel is basically built on. It's its very foundation. But tonight, I've got a story for you, my friends, that comes in at number 2, animal cruelty. There's this chap, right? I've seen the video. I can't share it with you on here for obvious reasons, who was disgustingly abusing his dog right in the middle of the street. He was dragging the poor thing along by its lead. He kicked it twice, the hardest I've ever seen anything being kicked, and I watch football, like I've just said at the top of this video, and he proceeded to stamp on it in the middle of the street, and it made my blood boil. It made me incensed, my dear friends. So I had to bring you this story and let you know who this fuckstick actually is that can stamp on a dog, of all things. So with that being said, let's see who this bastard is, shall we? A heartless thug has been spared jail. Of course he's been spared jail, and do you know why? Well, that reason is coming up very, very shortly. He has been spared jail for doing what he has done. By the way, right, I'll give you this guy's name in just a second. Google his name and watch this video for yourself. I can't put it into words. I can't express how vicious this attack was on this poor defenseless creature. Just Google his name once I get to it. It'll boggle your mind, guys. It really will. A heartless thug has been spared jail despite being caught attacking a terrified dog on CCTV. Distressing footage snapped. Are you ready? Right? Rashid Chin King. In this country, guys, we are a nation of animal lovers. We love animals in this country. It's been bred into us. It has been that way for centuries. We have looked after dogs for centuries. We've had cats for centuries. We've had small animals for centuries. Some guy in Victorian times brought budgies over, tiny little birds in cages for people to look after and love within their homes. Most of the people in this country, indigenous English, British, Scottish, Welsh, Irish people, do not treat animals with violence and cruelty. When you got a boatload of foreigners, a shit ton of foreigners coming onto the country with each and every single passing year, they don't hold our same values when it comes to animals, as this guy will testify to. Over in Turkey, dogs are treated appallingly for obvious reasons. We have hundreds and thousands of stray dogs in the Middle East. They get treated appallingly. They get run over, they get kicked, they get abused. I've seen many of a YouTube video of locals doing that to animals within the street. Even some cats don't escape the wrath of the people in the Middle East. Over in this country, we find it highly distasteful when someone does this to an animal. So it is no surprise as to why this man was spared jail with a name such as Rashid Chin King. I'm not quite sure what sort of name that is, but that is his name, and I do believe that is why he escaped jail. Rashid, Rashid Chin King. Spastic name, but nonetheless, that's his name. Give it a Google, watch what he did to this dog, and you understand my anger towards this particular story. Kicking his 6-month-old bully-type puppy three times in the head before putting his foot on the pooch's skull in February last week. The poor animal, called Ice, is then seen cowering against a fence, trying to defend itself from the attacker outside a home in Chingford, Essex. Chin King has now been banned from owning a pet for 8 years after he was prosecuted by the RSPCA. If you are treating a dog like this, 8 years is nothing. The 8 years will pass. You'll get another pooch. And they'll probably do the same, exactly the same again. We see people who are nasty and abusive to animals are generally psychotic. There's something not right upstairs in their head. There's something broken within the DNA of their heads. You'll notice most serial killers are, well, more often than not, nasty to animals. They kill small rodents and cut them up. I mean, just watched that Jeffrey Dahmer miniseries on Netflix last night. Finished that up. He started skinning roadkill and gutting fish and stuff like that. And we all know what that fucking sick fuck got up to, killing gay men and doing God knows what with the bodies. It tends to be the same thing over and over again. These people should have a lifetime ban of owning any animals when it comes to dogs, cats, birds, even fish. They shouldn't be allowed to have in their home. These people are dangerous towards any living creature. I can almost guarantee you that. An inspector for the animal welfare organisation, Shanaz Ahmed, you couldn't make this up, could you? Liaised with officers from the Met Police after a member of the public handed over the shock footage. Cops then rushed to Chin King's home on March 26th and seized Ice to give him a veterinary assessment before taking the dog into RSPCA care. In a statement to the court, Shanaz said the footage showed the dog being kicked 3 times in the face in a seemingly unprovoked attack before the defendant placed his foot on the dog's head, forcing it down to the ground. The dog was cowering and clearly frightened. There was a fence directly behind him and he was on a lead, so unable to get away. I think I've had enough of this story for tonight, my friends. I can already feel my blood pressure rising. What can I say here? I'm pretty sure you guys out there are familiar with having a dog in your life, in your families. We've got one now sitting next to your feet as you watch this video. Dogs are the most loyal creatures you can ever come across on this planet. You can get yourself a dog, right? You can starve it, you can beat it, you can treat it cruelly, you can treat it like absolute shit from the moment it's a puppy until the moment that it dies. And I can guarantee you now that that dog will not run away, will not seek sanctuary anywhere else. It will die at your feet. Whether what you do to it doesn't matter. It's loyal to you. Dogs are pack animals, and as soon as they have that bond with you from when they're a puppy, it's unbreakable. Like I say, you can treat this dog as disgustingly as you want. It will stay by your side. That's why I cannot comprehend people being evil and abusive towards dogs, particularly dogs. But the same can be said for cats. Obviously, they're not as loyal and close-knit with their owners. They're quite independent, cats are. They like doing their own things. They like going out hunting and they, being themselves to themselves. It's all to do with the evolutionary thing. Like I said, dogs are pack animals, cats are lone predators. They do it themselves. That's why they're not as close arguably not as close to their owners. Some cat owners will probably shoot me down in flames and say that their cat is more loving than any dog. No, fair play, more power to you. But genuinely, cats are a lot more independent. And I've got to mention before I end this, guys, RSPCA, right? I don't think they're worth the steam off my piss. Throughout most of my life, I have taken in injured animals. I've had sparrows with broken rings that I've taken in and tried to nurse back to health. 9 times out of 10 they die, which is understandable. I've had numerous hedgehogs, stuff like that, in my house in a little box, give it some milk and a little bit of food, try and get it back to health, injured hedgehogs with limps and stuff like that. And I've rang the RSPCA on numerous occasions with these animals. And 8 times out of 10, they don't give a fuck. Now I can understand with something like a bird or a sparrow or a starling or something like that. They're not going to send one of their people out, collect it and then give it expensive veterinary care. I can quite understand when it's a bird or something like that. But I've brought in other animals in the past. Like I say, hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are an endangered species in this country. Have they got any left? For obvious reasons. They're being crushed by cars and being booted by yobs and various other fucking sick things. They don't bother with hedgehogs. I've even brought in a red squirrel before, and they're as rare as rocking horse shit in this country. I was out chestnutting with a couple of mates when I was much more younger, and we saw it hobbling around below this chestnut tree. It must have either fallen out of it or a grey squirrel attacked it, one of the two. I got it, took it home, nursed it back to health, told the RSPCA, nothing. There was a story not so long back I was going to cover for you guys. A couple of days back, I just never got round to it. There was a case of a cage full of puppies, about 4 or 5 puppies, left outside an RSPCA centre. Pissing down rain, freezing cold, no water, no food, just dumped there by someone who obviously couldn't be arsed dealing with puppies. Did the RSPCA centre that was dumped outside go to them? No. They didn't take them in because, there was no room. Fuck no room. Put them in your office if need be. They're puppies, for fuck's sake. Thankfully, there was a dog sanctuary in the area, an independent dog sanctuary ran by 2 old people. They took them in. They had room. Even they said the room, they were crammed to the rafters. They still took these puppies in. I don't give to RSPCA centres. I give to independent, small charities because I know they're in much more need and they do more. Like I just said, that dog sanctuary led independently by 2 old people who didn't have a fucking pot to piss in themselves are still helping stray and abused animals. A big corporation like the RSPCA, who gets government funded to the best of my knowledge and gets a fuck ton of money from the general public, can't be asked most of the time. Anyway, my dear friends, I just wanted to bring that to you. Like I say, do go and Google this arsehole and look what he did to his dog, and you will understand my fucking anger when it comes to people like this. I've seen stories in the past that I've covered on my channel about people who starve dogs on purpose. I've seen pictures of dogs that are basically skeletons with furry skin. It's outrageous. I cannot comprehend it. These people deserve beyond going to hell. That's the best I'm going to get away with the constraints of YouTube. Anyway, carpe diem, my friends. Do let me know what you think in the comments. Do you have pooches yourself? Do you have cats yourself? Let me know how much we love animals in the comments. I'd much appreciate it. And I'll see you in a bit. Cheers, guys.